Entonces extraño la familia grande, entonces porque
Natal, Navidad, Páscoa,
sí.
Páscoa,
De familia y todo eso.
Tenemos que encontrar personas para hacer que tiene que ficar como círculo. Familia, tú sabes que va a estar, hasta los 2 años la niña no paga. Solo paga una pequeña taja de parque. Entonces como $200 hasta 2 años. Entonces ahí
Ya comencé.
puede viajar.
Oh, more, yeah.
Yo no recomiendo llevarlos sin la
Ok, tomar agua también, porque si hay muchos más amigos que tienen, entonces está más
Sophie, chega dentro dela. Sophie, volta aqui, Sophie.
Oh, okay.
Isn't so cool? Yes.
Sophie, pede pra tia Renata. Vamos ver. Pede pra Sophie, faz favor. Fala pra Sophie botar uma colher de mac and cheese e um pedacinho de carne.
Você quer um bread também? É batata. Também sou, tem que ir no prato.
Sophie, vem sentar com o papai, vem.
Noah, você já tem seu prato? But you said you're gonna eat, right? That's what you said you're gonna eat. I heard it. Are you gonna eat it? No. You're not gonna eat it, right? Yes, she is. That's all right. No. I am not eating anymore. That's all right. I am not eating. You're not eating. Você quer que eu corte pra você? Pegar o quê? Batata? I want a batata. Você quer batata? Você acha que vai comer isso?
Sophie, você já tem bastante comida ali, só batata. Obrigado.
Sí. Pessoal que já teve, que
I know I need a floor. Mas muito mais do que aqui, ó. Você vai esquecer de estar bom.
Comer junto comigo com a mamãe? Não, sua garrafa tá ali. Você daqui a mim.
Não queria.
Você só queria me pegar. Pega.
Ele não quer comer, hein, falou.
Não, você tem que comer.
Não,
Vai pegar pra você.
você já viu?
Você quer? Então você tem que. Você tem que.
Noah, para!
Só o filho para de lutar. Fala pra ele, não fala.
Vocês queriam do telefone, gente.
Se você não come, você não vai ficar forte, né?
Exatamente.
I don't want to
Falei nada de chocolate aqui. Falei que só pode comer sorvete, sobremesa. Não sorvete, não. Pois é. Eu ia precisar se eu fosse ficar ali.
Não.
Quer que eu faça alguma coisa?
É chocolate.
Agora eu vou deixar ele terminando de comer. Você colocou pelo Wesley. Meu Deus. Obrigado.
Quer mais?
I think it's cool.
Eu quero dar um jeito uma coisa.
Now, I think it's
Vou desistir da ideia de
Ei. Bad word. Tá legal.
fazer
Vídeo cheiro.
muito trabalho, fazer só fazer o curso novo. E saúde das relações pais e filhos com
Sabe que assim, eu li já o livro quase todo e eu tô ouvindo várias bobeiras. Eu acho que fazer o da família, os pais e filhos, vai ser melhor. Porque no da família, ele dá muitas explicações que, tipo assim, pais e filhos, a família já tá dado.
A ideia é fazer cada item aí local. Porque as outras relações também trabalha várias coisas que estão nas outras relações familiares, mas só que a hora que a gente vai para o mais genérico, a gente volta alguns pontos.
Então, por exemplo, os conceitos básicos da família, você vai passar para o pai e filhos e aí vai
Mas ele remove, assim como ele remove
Vai, pega água.
eu não
Olha, ele vai pegar pra você.
hoje eu falo.
só que é de uma forma geral que você conecta, né? O pai e filhos, é o conceito macro da família. Eu saindo de cada relacionamento. Saindo de cada conceito teoricamente, depois a gente pode falar das relações sociais. tô na cidade de organização. Eu acho que cada um é. Esse daqui tá um nome que a gente tá trabalhando. Deve ser, acho que cada um trabalha um nome. Aí cada encontro que está lá no vídeo aula, a gente continua mais vídeo aula são 2 horas, outros que são um seminário. Mas fazer 2 encontros eu acho que fica mais suave.
Mas assim,
a gente está tendo que passar um pouco por cima
não só isso, né? A parte das legal muita gente nova. Mas assim,
mais opinião dos seminários são 3 horas. A gente está pretendendo fazer menos tempo do que 10 horas. Eu acho que
aí é fazer no lado e perde o.
mas a parte boa é que a gente sempre faz o review, né? Ai,
Tá com nome ali, tá?
a gente deixa
E na folha nem manda na folha de remédio, mas eu é agora, por isso, era sábado, era mais pra gente registrar. Se eu tomasse o remédio, eu não funcionava. Eu comecei a comer, eu vou parar mais naquele governo eu sentia show, mas eu parava de aí eu tinha nem todos. Eu era um monte de rápido, eu comecei. Eu não os outros não queriam hoje em dia, mas ele era chato, porque veio a coisa também. A doutora falou que ela começou a desde essa semana, aí ela começou aqui. Aí na sexta-feira eu pensei que eu assim, mas por que dela não? Ela falou, tranquilo. Ela pode. E nós? Não come bem também, mas então. Ela consegue. Sabe umas palavras dos Spanish? Não, that's French. That's French. É muita língua. É, mas você aprendeu lá com a Dora. Ah, falei pro Corey, mas o mais gostoso é ver a família inteira junto. Sai de casa. Eu me lembro. Porque o Eric estava sozinho, eu não quis deixar ele sozinho. Agora acho que eu vou pular com ele. Vai pulando. Eu vou indo. Eu não quis deixar ele sozinho. Posso ficar sharing scary.
Yeah, they grow fast, don't they? Yeah, they grow fast.
Sharing is loving one another, right?
It's very way só pode assistir depois de
They didn't think about it all the way
I really like it, but I prefer the original look of life. Você quer ver o gato? Eu tô deixando de contar, então. This. Essa função que vai gostar.
Não mais, não mais. When you're this tall.
Tira a mão da carne. Tira a mão.
You know, you brought the stuff you should be rocking before you could have
Tá bom? O porco? Okay.
And the Clara and Gabriel, you know, they're extremely picky. They love both the pork and the beef.
Yeah, it's delicious.
The mac and cheese was a little bit too dry because I left it on when we were doing other
I am gonna eat everything and I'm gonna watch Coco. And the kids gonna be Coco.
I will. That's your lunch. That's your lunch. That's not fair. Look at this.
Your dad said that if we eat everything, we get to watch.
Okay. I'm gonna watch the movie.
What?
Ô, Renato, eu não entendo isso. Você já viu o Noah? O Noah desse tamanho, ele fala nada. Ele fala, aguda, buga. Ah, ele lembra as palavras. Igual o neném, sabe? Igual o nenenzinho. Aí ele depois aprende a falar. Olha lá, quem foi o melhor que o outro. Ó. Aí, ó. 2 anos, é melhor que o 5. É só pôr na caixinha por dentro.
Okay, guys, well, we'll get started here. We'll do our initial prayer. Sophie, be quiet now. We're gonna pray, okay? Please. Behave. So you guys can keep eating. Don't worry about it. Just let's thanks God for this opportunity of being here today together and learning, reflecting, promoting light in our lives, following Jesus' teachings, and understanding a little bit more this subject so important for all of us, which is the couple's relationship wellness. May we have a blessed meeting, a blessed lunch, and everybody have a blessed Sunday. So be it. All right, so we will keep on going our 9th meeting on the subject. And today we have a very interesting theme to talk about. And I guess most of us are not too familiar, but we'll do a quick refresh because it has been 2 months that we have done the last meeting. The past meeting I had promised you guys to do a different thing, which was the meetings with the videos with subtitles. But thinking about it again, it would take 30 meetings to finish this subject. It will be too long. 30-minute meetings is almost 3 years talking about couple relationship. We have other stuff to talk, although it's a very, very nice thing to
The
reflect.
subject will never finish.
Yes. So I hear talking about it, and we're talking about, probably we'll do 12 meetings for each subject. And so next subject, we should be starting next year, will be the father and daughter relationship, or how can we
Parents and children.
Parents and children relationship wellness, which is very, very important for all of us. And hopefully by 2020 we will be talking about the family relationship wellness. So we're starting from the micro, the couple relationship. Couple doesn't need exactly to have yet the kids, and then we go through kids, and then finally close the subjects on surrounding family with family relationship wellness. So let's do a quick refresh what we have been talking through this previous 8 meetings. This is based on the Projeto Espiritizado. We have been translating. They don't have this course yet in English, but hopefully by the end of this we will have these slides all in English as well. So we can share with them as well, and other groups that would like to reflect about this important subject. So we're talking about the myth of romantic love, which is basically our society is still submerged in unconsciousness, and this is truly reflecting our relationship as a whole. So we keep always seeking for this, what we call ideal relationship. So the ideal relationship. So if you think you are done, você pode assistir Coco, não? Good job. Thanks. Fala thanks, Xigi. Obrigado, Gisele. Okay. So on this topic, it's important to reflect that we keep seeking this myth of ideal relationship. Although we live in a world that nothing is ideal, nothing is perfect. So let's, and this all comes from the fairy tales. So just to remind us that those beautiful pictures of ideal marriage, ideal relationship, where the frog is kissed by the princess, and we finally get the princess. And get rid of the witch who has made the prince a frog. This is our, they live happily ever after. But the true life is, we have this beautiful marriage, and basically immature. The man becomes a frog and the wife becomes the witch. And people don't understand, and then keeping this immature process through their whole life. And this becomes a reality after we start thinking on ideal spouse or couple versus the real couple or spouse. We keep believing that we have twin souls out there, and we will find there at some point, and then we will live happily ever after. But the woman of my life or the man of my life, does it exist? We did a lot of reflections that in the idealization ground, yes, it does exist, but does it exist in the real world? Those are just potentials that we are a little bit far away from realize. On the helm of realization or achievement, is it real? What can we do real? Ideas that can really become true or be achieved. So in a couple relationship, what kind of real or what kind of relationship we can see these days. We can say that we have 4 relationships: the ideal husband and the real husband versus the ideal wife and the real wife. And these 4 figures keep crossing each other all the time. Therefore, in order to have a healthy couples relationship, it's really necessary to definitely overcome this naive myth. So what is the challenging experience called relationship? There are basically 3 options in this challenging experience: the greater evil, the smaller evil, and the greatest good. And actually, when we were talking about our politics about 2 or 3, or a few weeks ago, we were dealing with the same thing. Who is the greatest evil? Who is the smallest evil? Who is the greatest good? But in their relationship, this is true. Can we choose for the greater evil? What is the greater evil? Is when the relationship becomes so toxic that people start getting sick of it. And this was very common in our grandparents and grandparents' world, where they believed that they had to live, marry, and live with what they chose because the church or whoever was saying, no, you can't separate, you can't divorce. So if it was a toxic relationship, they would live with that pain until one of them die or both of them die. And this is still a reality in our world, because many people still believe that they are here to struggle, to live in this toxic relationship, and people doing evilness, such as even physical evil to other people. What would be then the smaller evil? The smaller evil is related to, okay, this is toxic for me, this is not good for my life, and I am done. I am not living with someone who is making me feel pain or making me feel bad. So I choose divorce. And we understand that in the Spirit's book, Kardec has made this question about the divorce, even though in 1860s, 1850s, 1860s, France was still against, the law in France was still against divorce. The Spirit have answered, well, this is man's law, not God's law. In God's law, we have free will. We can even do such things like kill other people, can kill ourselves, because God is not punishing us for our good or bad choice. But based on that, we have always the greatest good to choose. And the greatest good is important to understand what it is. This is based in 5 virtues.
It's probably here to complain about her.
So these 5 virtues are based on unconditional love, renunciation, compassion, meekness, and humility. We talked about this for a few meetings, and we will try to summarize a little bit to don't spend too much longer on this again. But what is unconditional love? What is unconditional love?
What we studied today, I guess, right? It's love everyone, regardless of what they do.
In a relationship, how
In the relationship, yeah, that's what the person would be doing, things that we don't like, or things that we disagree, and we still, okay, right?
well,
That's it.
is it okay? So is this choosing the greater good or the greater evil? Because imagine a person who punched the other one on the face. I will keep saying, okay, this is okay. This is unconditional love. I have to remind you guys that love starts where again?
Within ourselves.
Self-love. If I am not respecting myself, and self-love, one of the important virtues that connects to self-love is self-respect. If I don't self-respect myself and the other person do this stuff like or betray me all the time, well, is this unconditional love to always let it go?
That's okay.
Unconditional love is really we understand the other person as immature as we are. The other person has issues. The other person has their own challenges in life to overcome, as we all do. I am not perfect. I still have my developments, my potential developments should develop. But if I don't understand that the other person also has, and I will love the other person, even though that person have issues, have this challenge to develop. We won't understand because it will be just a mask. I love you the way you are, but yes, I love you as an essential being as you are, but I don't love your attitude. And this is the very important tricky thing because we always make the confusion between the person and the person's attitude. Is the person the attitude? What is the difference? And this is in English a tough one because in Portuguese we have two verbs to define this. In English you have just verb to be. But basically, the person is not that as an immortal spirit, as the person as an immortal spirit is pure love. Didn't develop yet all the pure love that is in him or her. But at the same time, the attitude that this person is having right now is what's happening in this moment. It doesn't define the person as a long term, because the person can overcome that. We all can overcome our passions or what make us feel evil or not right or not well. We can develop virtues that will bring us to feel happier, to feel more enlightened. So that's the unconditional love, seeing the other person as this potential this person is, and not the attitudes that this person is doing right now. The renunciation is not renouncing my belief as what is good, because good is good. Good, there are no, oh, this is good now and tomorrow is not good. Then it is not good. Good is good now, and it always been and will always be good, because it's according to God's law. But what is this renunciation then? If it's not renouncing what I believe it's what's good.
Renouncing my pride, renouncing always having to be right, always having to be my way or the highway.
So what is, do you guys remember that we talked about there are 4 people in the relationship really, even though it's just a couple. There is the real me, the ideal me, the real other, and the ideal other that I idealize. So can I keep living in the idealization of the other? Yes, I can. I can choose it. Will it be good for our relationship? No, because the other person is real. It's what's the real other. The renunciation is exactly this. I choose to renounce, to idealize the other as I want him or her to be. And I will accept the other person with its issues and potentials and limitations as well. And this is, again, not saying that the other person, I accept the attitudes of the other person, but this person is right now like this, but has a potential to be a loving person, develop all these virtues as I do. The compassion is exactly to see this. When I see something wrong the other person is doing, how I react with that? I react increasing the anger or the issues, the evenness in that moment, or I will choose compassion and understand that the other person just needs to be loved, to be contaminated with this love, and let go all these wrong movements or attitudes that him or her are taking. Meekness, because whenever someone does something wrong to us, what is the normal attitude we have? There is the maxim that comes from the art of war. Do you guys remember? What is the best defense? To attack. So we still believe that we have to attack. So if someone's attacking me, I have to strike back and keep this movement. It's a war. It becomes really a war in the relationship. And that's what usually finishes up most of. Because nobody has, oops, calm down. I don't need to strike back. I don't need to answer you the same way you're doing because you're being unpolite. Doesn't mean that I need to be unpolite as you are. If you're being physically doing something to me, I don't need to punch you back in the face. I will self-respect again. If you're doing it, keep it away. Don't come closer. Let's establish the line. You're not supposed to do it, but don't bring or always feel that we can solve with meekness, being meek, or manso in Portuguese, instead of anger. And humility. Why humility? Because if the other person has issues, I do have as well. And I have to recognize, remember, there is the real me and the ideal me. And we usually see ourselves way better than what we are. We idealize ourselves as, wow, I am the top of the world, on the top of the world. If I recognize that the other person, there is a real person, I have to recognize that I do have my limitation, my challenge, but my potentialities as well. So I will respect myself and be humble on this. Okay? But just a little background what we taught. I want to go through all this again. Okay, we can test this. So, what is the real gain here? To seek the real gain from developing these virtues of the heart result in the inner perfection. I am getting closer to what's my goal as a moral being. Because although we are right now in a couple relationship, we have our own goal with ourselves. Because we evolve as one being and not as family. Because next life, as we reincarnate, who is going to be? Can I assure that Corey and Gabriela will be married again? I don't know. Can we be assured that you two are going to be together again next life? Maybe. But we can't assure that. But we are evolving as one being. We can help each other, showing our example of doing right things and spreading love through where we walk, but we can't really do it if we don't develop the virtues within us. And this is what we call the inner perfection. So to exercise the exercise of the power of couples relationship, we can do it in two ways. In a collaborative way, collaborate, we both work together, or with suggestions. Let's say both of them are willing to work. So if both are willing to work, that's awesome, because then we collaborate. But imagine a relationship that just one is willing really to develop. Can it happen? Yes. And is there a way to develop a relationship that just one is willing to evolve? Yes, through the suggestions. And these suggestions is fully connected with what we call example. If I just say from my mouth stuff, beautiful stuff, but my attitudes don't match with what I say, just empty words. Okay. And for that, we all either in a collaborative development or in the suggestive development, we have to develop what we call the virtue loving self-welcoming. What is love and self-welcoming? And I didn't find yet the best word to translate acolhimento. So welcoming is the best way to translate. It's not welcoming just when you welcome for the first time, but always embracing yourself. That's what it means. So to develop this, we have to understand well and develop the self-esteem. I accept myself the way I am. Self-acceptance, self-confidence. I can. I am the only limitation I have to develop myself, so I can overcome what I am right now. I can develop myself. Self-valorization and self-respect. So these five sub-virtues will help me to develop what we call self-welcome. I will embrace myself, and from now on, we will develop this life in a better way. Either in the couple relationship, either in the professional relationship, either even in the friends relationship, or parenting relationship as well. All right. I won't go through all this worship. We talked about it already. So, what is the relationship? So, the women have her own individuality, as we talked. The man has its own individuality. The real relationship is this inner connection between both. Does one come on the top of the other? Yes or no? Or we will always have this interface, but I have my own individuality and she has her own individuality. What do you guys think? Will always be just an interface, or can it be on the top of the other? It can be, right? Shouldn't be. Because if the full relationship comes on the top of the other, means someone is letting go its individuality. And let's see a little bit more what it means. So let's say the woman has her own likes and desires, and comes the man and has his own likes and desires. Our relationship with is what matches, right? But will she still be having her own stuff? Will I still have my own stuff? I'm not trying to make this complicated as men just have a few and women have a lot. I just copy and paste what else. It's what they say. Women are usually a little bit more complicated in this hell. But what is, and this is when the relationship goes well through dialogue, is all these virtues go in a convergence to meet each other. Both in the relationship will be needed. But we'll paste this. But are there conflicts in the relationship? Well, yes, they are. Let's see the same image again. What is the conflict? A self-annullative wife versus an individualist and dominator husband. What's going to happen in the relationship in their face? And we'll basically take over everything and you can't do anything. So let's represent this. My desires and my likes are more important than yours. Just to make clear that it's not just men, women can do it as well. Same thing happens. Man just stays goes on her likes or desires. And there is also the relationship very common these days that none of them have their own interface though. It's like a partner relationship. So we live in the same apartment, but I have my own account, you have your own account, you have my own bedroom, you have your own bedroom, everything separate. So it's just like a friend's relationship, not a real couple. So none of the likes or desires. And this is very, very common in the materialistic world that we live right now. You have your own stuff, I have my own stuff, we don't need to cross each other. There is no relationship really. Even in a friend's relationship, even if it's just one like and desire should be crossed, otherwise, what is the connection between these two people? And then it comes this conflicts, the divergence, pride, sorrow, prepotence, self-annihilation, insecurity, anger, and there you go. All this comes from someone being passive, the other one being reactive, and that's when the conflicts arise. Let's go through this. I'll just try to pass a little quicker this because I think the subject that we have to discuss today is important because we all have it. So, a personal growth as individuals, we go through dependency. We depend on our parents. We depend on our psychological independence. Let's take again the parents' relationship. We do have start becoming a more independent person or socially independent as I grow the psychological independence. But are we totally independent of each other in the world? We're not just saying now in a couple relationship. We are not. What we have to understand is develop the interdependence. What does it mean? I have my own things to develop. The other has its own things to develop. Some of them crosses. And that's the interdependence that we have. We both have stuff to solve and develop together, but we can live in just my and yours, yes. But personal growth, or I would say even spiritual growth, will come through that, because from the horizontal line or challenge of life, the development of my couple relationship will help me to develop virtues and the vertical of life. Yeah, I will be able to develop my being, developing virtues with that relationship. We saw 5 of those, for example. If I can be someone a little bit more humble because of that relationship, I am growing as a mortal spirit. So we talked a little bit about the dysfunctionalities in a relationship, such as lack of affection. So, for example, I have self-love deficiencies, and I focus totally this on the other. So my deficiencies go on the top of the other to try to subsidize my insecurity. So to show that the problem is on the other and not in me. So this shows insecurity, codependence, and start producing the repulsive energy. So again, the conflict. Then can become addiction, jealousy, betrayal, and we're almost there. All right. So, what are the structures of the psychic structures of a family or a relationship dynamic? And this is, in Portuguese, we call jogos psicológicos.
Mind games, it was good.
In English, it's called mind games. Obrigado.
You want ice cream? Her mom is not giving her any, so maybe you can solve her problem.
So we all have we all have what we call inner wounded child, which then generates a lot of impotence, David.
Ai, ai, ai. Fingers, fingers, fingers.
Isn't it shut?
David,
It was someone from the outside. Yeah.
no, it was David. David, stop!
Oh, he's gone.
He's gone.
He's gone.
He keeps doing this all
The door, have an inch or two. Inch or two.
So, what is this inner wounded child we have? This is what we develop our egoic adult, like developed from a rebel teenager, the inner father or mother we have, and generates a lot of omnipotence or prepotence in our lives. Prepotence, sorry. But this usually is related what we need to empower ourselves with the essential order, which is fully connected with the essential being. If the essential order wanna heal the inner wounded child, it's just through love it will happen. And the same thing, it will be connected to the virtual unconditional love. I will love myself or my partner, my couple, as our immortal being, welcoming that honor, and we'll develop what we call the happy inner child. What we all have. We all have a childhood that we want to develop in ourselves. And the same thing for the essential adult. With love, transmute those feelings of rebelness or dependence of a wife acting as my mother, dependence of a husband acting as my father, because we all have, and this is so tricky in Portuguese or in Brazil. There is a lot of people who say we always seek a wife like our mom, a man say. We always seek, and this is the problem. This is not a usual thing. This is not something that, or actually, is usual, but it's not a right movement because it's related to depending on someone doing stuff for me. For example, fixing the bed, doing cooking for me, taking care of my stuff. This is a dependence, and it comes from this egoic adult that we're having. And again, with lots of unconditional love, we can self-welcome or welcome the other person essential order, transforming the adult to the egoic adult, to essential adult. And this is so complex that we have a few members of these mind games. We have the savior martyr, someone who is trying to save the other person in the relationship, full of him. He doesn't know what he's doing. I am here. God has put me here to save him. And there is the martyrized martyr. What is the martyrized martyr? It's what we expect God. For example, I sacrifice myself and I expect the others to see my sacrifices. I don't know what about you guys, but my mom always said to me, you guys will see when I die. You guys will see how good I was. And all this is connected to this. I am martyrizing to become a martyr. And there is also the martyrized victim. which is I am doing the salvation and really connect this. I need to save you guys. I need to save my son, my daughter. I need to save my husband because they don't know what to do. So it's the victim of the martyr's job, or the completely incapable victim. Poor of him. It'll suffer everybody. The world is against this person. Everything happens. So who usually comes in this figure? Poor of me. Poor of me that nobody understands me. Poor of me that everybody tries to punish me. We always put ourselves in this or in this. And the other, we create this relationship. So the relationship is very interesting because then there is the salvation martyrization. So the Savior martyr is trying to save the other that's martyrized martyr, or vice versa, salvation martyrization. There is a process of victimization. So the other one is going all wrongs. The other one is the bad guy here, and I am the bonzinho or the little.
Yeah, poor me. I do everything. Nobody notices.
So let's think about this. A person who had a father or a mother castrator, or overprotectors overprotectors, remains psychologic in childhood, predominating in their relationship the manifestation of this inner child. So, for example, a mother who does everything for the son, everything, doesn't even let put its own shoes. What's going to happen in the future?
It's going to be too dependent.
The guy sitting on the couch, waiting, literally put on the shoes.
Takes off my
And when it feels like martyrizer, will think in his head, you are so bad to me. You have never put the shoes on me like my mom. Guys, I'm not saying this happens. It happens a lot. Happens within. Sometimes people put it out. The relationship is usual to hear. We don't see here, right? Eric said, Cynthia, come and put the shoes on me. And, but we see a lot of this happening when the man is sitting on a Sunday, wife went to the spirit center, arrives at 1 p.m. Did you have your lunch? And then he thinks, yeah, you were in that stupid thing there and didn't cook my lunch. What are you waiting for? My mom used to have the lunch ready for me at 12 p.m.
So why did you marry? You had the option to stay at home.
Do you? I don't think so. I don't think so. Everybody have this option.
My sister's first husband, I think he left the house at 25 or 26. And in Brazil, we don't have central heating. So in the winter, every time it was too cold, before bedtime, she would iron his bed so he could lie on the bed at 20-something.
different.
Yeah, good.
She would light up a little can with alcohol inside the bathroom to warm up the bathroom so he wouldn't take a shower feeling cold.
Castrators and overprotectors, they seem like extremes, right?
Yeah, but the final result is
This person can
it's the
survive
same
with another
result.
mom.
It's true. So, and if we realize these mind games in a relationship are usual, We do it all the time. Even with friends, we do it. We put it, poor me, you don't help me, you are not here to fix my issues, or oh, you're not a nice guy, you don't come and always pass the hand on my back and tap me when I'm doing things wrong. You always tell me that I'm doing wrong. So it's okay. It's just a cat taking care of
Hey, just stop organizing things.
He's living his personal touch.
Yeah.
So we all have these relations.
And we
I
do
know.
that to our kids too.
We do it to the kids as well.
Yeah.
Well, the problem is, and that's exactly what we're saying, because it's an unconscious moment, and this is why we're starting with this course, because then it will pass on. The immaturity that we are seeing here goes to the relationship with the sons and daughters. And it will end up become a big circle of a family living in an immature way, which ends up to having a crazy teenager at home, a husband that can't stay at home, always want to be working or drinking out of home. So we see it all the time, and it happens in our life because we see our kids having these wrong movements, mainly because we are being the castrators or the overprotectors, creating the psychological environment in our families, which will develop this adult with a lot of inner dependencies, this inner child or inner wounded child. The inner child seeks father or mother in a couple figure. There is a trend to seek in the couple the overprotection or the love and affection that were denied to him in childhood. So all the things that, again, overcastrated or overprotected, all the things that we were having in too much dose or nothing, we will seek in the relationship to solve this. And this is a problem because, again, not understanding that love and affection starts within us, with ourselves, we will keep seeking it out. And the more we seek it out, the more or the less we will find it. And then the more we will put the blame on the other because it's not giving us what we didn't develop in ourselves. And what usually we don't give as well. Because sometimes we do something good to the other person and we accuse them. I do this to you, you don't do this to me. What the other person does to you and you don't do to me.
You
Yeah.
need to do something with that expected from the other, you know. You need to do because you like to do just that. You don't expect it.
Which again comes to the immaturity, right? So this psychological movement will intensify couple mind games based on salvation and martyrization. One trying to save the child, the wounded child, the other one being the martyr. Origin of these games is in the spiritual past, but is reinforced in the current life experiences. So again, if we think that we came in the wrong family, sorry to say, but we are there exactly in the place we need to be to learn and to overcome these things. And as a mortal spirit that have been going through many and many experiences, and many of these experiences led me to live in that life, to learn something, if I don't stop and start thinking why this is happening in my life right now, tendency will be choosing the greater evil or the smaller evil. I will just divorce because I'm done. But am I trying to develop those virtues that we talk? Did I really try? Or am I just living this life because God is punishing me to live with this person because I was a really bad person all the life? Many people still think, many spiritists think this way. I am being punished because I was a bad guy in another life. And this is not the truth. We choose to stay in that relationship. And we choose how that relationship will evolve. At least in the way I behave in that. The games represent the movement of the person in a subconscious or unconscious way in the inner child, the inner adolescent or teenager, in the inner parent figures, a pathological egoic adult. This is very important. All the pathologies that if you go, and the materialistic psychologists that we can go, they will always say that the problem was in the parenting relationship with the kids. But if we analyze a little deeper, we will see that many times two kids have exactly the same relationship with it. One of them have developed a way more wanted inner child than the other one. Or the other one have developed this inner wanted teenager, the other one a more child thing. And we can't be so naive that believe that this is just, I don't know, was one experience different than the other. No. It's obvious that we came from different experiences before. And these experiences now are awakening based on our relationship with parents, our couple relationship, and our social relationships. So if we don't work on these relationships, well, we keep living in these mind games, believing that the other is my enemy or the other is my savior. Therefore, to establish harmony in the relationship, it is necessary that at least one of the partners does not accept the games and seek a healthier posture by meeting the essential adult and fulfilling his or her inner child with love. As one of them takes a more mature step in the relationship, it will no longer accept those games. Doesn't mean that the other person needs help to make food or want help, but I will teach. You know how to use a phone. You need some help to call when I am not home, to call and ask for order for food. You want to learn how to make some egg or make rice, right? So this is a more mature posture because sometimes we want to have the other person dependent on us. And this is the maturity, again, related to these mind games. At the same time, most must do work in the transformation of his or her inner rebellious teenager, the inner figure of the father and mother. it is fundamental to transform these structures from the essential adult love that we bring within us. And with that said, I believe that you guys have already made some examples, but I would like to bring another example. It's not me, it's actually a leader that brings this example. So, for example, there was a wife that went to a workshop, and she went back home by 1 p.m. and arrived there. Husband sitting on the couch with that crank. It's true story. And the husband sitting with that cranky face on the couch, and then she comes, "Oh, my darling, it was a wonderful workshop today. You should have gone there." And then, for sure, from his face, she could see that what he was thinking, right? And did you have lunch? And he doesn't answer again with that crank face. Did you give lunch to the kids? And then he answers, you are supposed to give lunch to the kids. Where have you been? And then she's trying to keep her knowledge from the workshop in case.
Put it to use.
No, I thought you understood that they would come a little later, but where is they used to have in Brazil is very common, right? A maid to make the food. Where is she? Well, she didn't come today, and I thought you knew that. Always with very dry answers. And then she realized that she didn't come, and then okay, so I have to go back to the second part of the workshop, which is in the afternoon. She thinking herself, right? So why don't we go and have lunch out? And then, no, I'm not coming. And then, until now, she was doing well. Now, look what happens. She turns to him and say, well, on his side, obviously, he was having that cranky teenager that's very dependent and but wanna be rebellious, right? But she returns to him and say, "Oh my darling, you need to eat. Let's go with me." And then he feels that she is start giving up a little bit. Turns, no, you go with the kids. I will stay. A little bit better face, but then what she does to convince him to go? No, darling, let's go with us. You're so important. I need you to come. After tonight, I will make a very nice dinner. And maybe if when we come back, you even get a premium. So, entendeu agora? So, in the end, what has she done? Based on what we have to reflect here. Well, let's take this study case and see what was his mind game with her.
Guilt trip the other person.
He was trying to
make her feel guilty.
Yeah, so he was trying to put himself as the victim, right? And basically, he was raising his child and parenting, or teenager and parenting relationship in the past, because he was expecting her to do all this stuff and he couldn't take his out of the coach and go cook for the kids, or even call to order a pizza. But what happens with her? What's her movement? If he was trying to put himself as the martyrized victim, what was her position in the beginning?
Savior, martyr.
Thank you. Thanks for coming back.
The savior, martyr.
She started behaving like the savior martyr. No, you can't stay without lunch. You need to bring your tray to the lunch. Well, if he really wanted to do lunch, he would have done by himself, right?
So what's the best way?
No, we'll get there. We're still analyzing.
You want the answer without working for it, Renata? Come on.
We're still analyzing the situation, because the situation is very common in our lives. And we go through all this process, and this always happens in what? 10 minutes? But we don't analyze to see how we develop that the whole story. 10 minutes. But those are skills of one child that we have been having for decades or lives. So if we don't recognize exactly what's going on, and her behavior as well, because her behavior wasn't the greatest one, she started bargaining with him. As she started bargaining, tried to seduce him, okay, let's go, and then I give you a premium in the end, and all this kind of stuff. Do a couple relationship need this kind of bargaining? A trade? I don't think so, right? We don't need to seduce the husband or the wife to go for a lunch. This is childish, right? So it is important to develop, reflect about this, because really the answer to your question is here, Renata. As we do this work to develop the harmony within the relationship, as we do find our movements that are not correct, we won't accept anymore these games happening.
Thank you.
Because I am part of the game. If I don't play the game, will the game exist? Well, you can try, but won't happen.
I'm pumping your son full of sugar, and then I'm gonna deliver to you. Trojan horse approach.
Right? So if we don't recognize
I think
that,
it's not better to take that one.
Oh yeah.
You'll be in trouble.
Yeah, Chloe is gonna have a tantrum.
well, not curious.
If you don't play the game, then there is no game.
There is no game. The other person can try to play alone,
Yeah,
but the game is played by the couple, right? Yeah.
One thing that I also think helps you understand, like when I was listening to some of the material, Aliu explains like three, not kinds, but stages of love. And the first is the childish love, is love that only demands. I only want it. The teenage love that is based on exchange. I will only give if I get it back. And then the mature love that doesn't demand anything or doesn't demand a trade at least. So that's and that's what we do all the time, right? It's either the childish or the teenage love where, you know, I'll only give if I get some back.
So as we recognize any of these movements,
But I asked her what she did to manage the situation because like she can't be like a victim, neither a salvation. She needs to stay in the middle. And you always need
No,
to
she
choose.
doesn't need to be in the middle. That's the problem. We don't want to play the game. We have to play the essential algo. If we start playing either the one child or the egoic algo, we will be playing the game. And it's not this movement, but with unconditional love, develop the virtues, recognize where I am playing this game, where there is this movement, and I can't say that we will change day from tonight because it's not easy. Because most of the time, a relationship of years or decades, that how can we stop having this movement that becomes really toxic for the relationship, creating this. So the answer really is don't play the game. But to not play the game, we have to do self acknowledgement and understand when I am going to be the savior martyr, when I'm playing the victim, when I am playing the martyrizer. Where is my role in the game? And if I am having any role in the game, I have to stop. That's the main invitation. Stop playing the mind game because it's not healthy for me, it's not healthy for the other person, it's not healthy for the couple relationship.
Sometimes people don't realize that they are in the game.
Yeah.
So
But if we do, it always starts with us. If we do and we stop the cycle, maybe the person will take the hint. All we can do is do our part and be an example.
because sometimes we live in a, how can I say that, ciclo vicioso.
Vicious cycle.
Yeah. And you can't see this attitude because you are immersed in that. So
Well,
when you put out of the situation and you try to analyze the things, maybe you can see, oh, but most of the time you are.
But it takes one to break the cycle, right? Someone has to break the cycle first.
yeah, and that doesn't mean that both can't work together. Can, yes, can. It's as we talked before in the other meetings about the collaborative way. The other one is the suggestive way to develop the relationship really is connected to this. At least one has to stop the cycle. And yes, for sometimes when the one that's playing the victim is awesome, because usually take more advantage of the martyr. But the martyr, in his or her mind, is bargaining with God. You see God, like Leonardo kids, trying to develop patience, bargaining with God. You see what I have to pass through? I am being very patient. But it's not real patience. She was playing this type of games. She was playing the victim, sometimes the martyr, and we do this all the time. And doesn't mean that all the time one of them will be playing just one game. Can it exchange? Yeah. Yes, most of the time we will see very clear who is the martyr, who is the victim, who is playing the martyrized victim, who is playing the incapable victim, who is playing the martyrized martyr. We will, sometimes it's very clear, but the role can change in some occasions, right? For example, the wife who doesn't like to do housework. For example, I can't even change a lamp at home. When the man arrives, will do all the work feeling he is the savior one, he's saving her. How hard is to teach or to change, to show that there is no big deal in changing the land.
Kill the cockroach. The wife passed all the way beside the water. I was waiting for you to kill.
And then the children go on top of the table
I
because
used-
sometimes the
Yeah, I
husband is
used to wake up my little sister to kill the cockroaches for me. Everything else I'll do. The cockroaches, I need to work up to it. But I don't have to here because we don't have them, so I'm good.
Look at in Vancouver, they have a lot of rats in Vancouver because of the poor stuff. So, yeah, this is what we have to reflect a little bit, and this is a very important step in the to get. We will finish this study next meeting, and basically to now find ways to heal all these situations. It was important to realize that we all have this a little bit, either in a big way or either in a small way. I mean, if you wanna have a more mature relationship, it's important to leave that behind and start working to get the five virtues developed. Any other point? Can we go to the final prayer? Any reflections? No? All right, so let's put the music. Let's go over the final prayer. Does anybody would like to do our final prayer? Vamos agradecer. Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay.
Let's thank for this beautiful opportunity. We thank the mentors of this house for enabling us to be here today. We thank all our friends, spiritual friends that are coming with us, inspiring us to develop a better relationship, to find ways to be more conscious, to be more mature. Dear Jesus, please bless our efforts. Help us to be more in a more conscious relationship, seeking to develop unconditional love, seeking to develop renunciation, seeking to develop compassion, the meekness, and the humility that all of us need to have a better, more loving relationship. May our week be full of happiness, full of opportunities have opportunities as well to determine when we are playing these games. Not helping us to evolve. So
Thank you.
obrigado. Thank you, Francis.
Isso passa para si em português. Você fala que você é design disso.
Matter of conference. Are you praying Spanish as well?
Sei.
Você consegue estudar?
Ella dice que entiende, pero no sé.
Claro.
Muy bien, muy bien. Podemos practicar en español también. El próximo. Very, very good.
Oh, that's it.